Does it start?
Yeah.
Hi! We're starting live. We're going live right now from 4th grade hall. This is Miss McKnight.
This is Miss Ammons.
And Miss Mitchell.
And we are here to help prepare you guys for your weather test coming up. So hopefully you've got your science notebook in front of you, because all the important information that is going to be on the test can be found in your science notebook. So we're going to start off with the water cycle and see how well you guys remember the water cycle. All right, so I'm going to ask some questions. Ladies, I want to see how well you know your water cycle. Are y'all ready?
Bring it on. Bring it
Okay.
on. I've been singing my song every night.
Oh, that is such a good
Well,
song.
have you been doing the motions with it?
Lyrics and motions.
Very good. Okay, we gotta have it all.
Miss Mitchell says she might do a solo later.
Whoa.
All right, here we go. All right, who can tell me what the process is called when water is heated and changed to a gas?
Ooh. You go ahead, Miss Mitchell.
All right, Miss
Okay.
Mitchell, what is that process?
When water is heated and goes into a gas, which the gas, of course, we know is water vapor,
Good.
then that is evaporation.
Very good. Very good. All right, Miss Ammons, you ready for the next one?
Bring it on.
All right. What happens after that water is heated? It turns into water vapor. As it rises into the atmosphere, it cools.
Oh.
And then it starts to change back into a liquid. What is
Right.
that called?
Okay, so when it's cooling in the atmosphere, and as you said, changing from a gas back to a liquid, that's called condensation.
Excellent.
It condenses.
Condensed.
And we talked about lots of real world examples of condensation. We talked about how a lot of times our water bottles on our desk, and thinking about the experiment we did, and thinking about dew, etc.
Very good. All right. Next up, this part of the water cycle happens from the clouds. The clouds get so filled with that those water droplets that they get too heavy and they start to fall from the clouds. It can be rain, it can be snow, it can be sleet, it can be hail. What is that part of the water cycle called?
1, 2, 3. Precipitation.
Yeah, they're so smart.
All right.
Very
All
good.
right. All right.
And then, of course, that moves right into that runoff.
Absolutely. So when the precipitation falls to the earth, runs all over the earth's surface, we call that runoff. Very
And the
good.
whole
And the
thing
whole
starts over.
Over and over
And over again. So really, so is there a start or a stop of the
No,
water
it's
cycle?
it's a continuous cycle.
Continuous.
cycle.
Very good.
All right.
All right, next up we are going to talk about the different types of clouds.
Yes.
I believe we can find this in we've got a nice little flip book here in our interactive
ISN.
science
We
notebook.
call it ISN in
Yeah.
our class.
Your ISN. It's
Yes.
very professional.
Yes.
All right. Do you want me to quiz you all on these?
Sure.
Sure.
All right. So, different types, thinking about our different types of clouds. This type of cloud is associated with fog, is the lowest lying type of cloud, and we think of it forming like a sheet or a blanket across the sky.
Yes.
Which one is that, Miss McKnight?
That is stratus clouds.
Excellent.
And stratus clouds can also produce rain
Good.
and sometimes even snow.
Excellent. Very good.
And a lot of times even just little drizzle.
Little
That's
drizzle,
what I
that's
think about
right.
with
Good.
the fog.
All right, Miss Mitchell.
Okay.
We've knocked out stratus. So between my other two that are left, which type of cloud is thin and feathery, made of tiny little bits of ice, but they're very high in the sky?
Oh, I love this one. It's the cirrus cloud. I just think about, the clouds just real high and feathery, and you feel like it's nice and clear, and it's a beautiful day for
Good.
cirrus
Very good.
clouds.
Very good.
All right, so that leaves one type left, ladies. I'm thinking about what type of cloud do we associate with being puffy and white, cotton balls, and they're the type of clouds that you look at and you say, oh, I see a castle, I see a bunny rabbit. What type of clouds are those?
Cumulus.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to bump it up a notch. What do we call the type of cumulus clouds that we know bring precipitation? They sound like cumulus, but they're actually, Miss McKnight?
Cumulonimbus.
Excellent. Super job.
These are where those big thunderheads come in.
Yeah.
One last thing before we leave the cloud pages, we need to make sure we understand how clouds are formed.
Good
We
point.
kind of talked about it a little bit when we were talking about condensation and the water cycle. So that, just like what we were saying, the water vapor rises, cools, and it has to condense around either dust particles or something in the sky, and then that's how clouds are formed. So all those water droplets form together to form a cloud around a dust particle.
Excellent.
Okay. All right, next up, tools.
Yes.
Weather tools. All right, Miss Mitchell, you want to ask some questions?
Sure,
Okay.
sure. Okay. So if I wanted to know how fast, we talked about that there are 4 basic things that
Conditions of weather.
conditions of weather. So we're looking at wind speed, we're looking at wind direction, we're looking at temperature, and finally precipitation. So
And
those are
that's
the
very
things.
important to remember, those 4 conditions of weather.
Okay.
I'm
There.
thinking about the graphs we've been doing too.
Yes.
Right.
We've been
right.
graphing
The
those every day.
The daily weather conditions. So, with that in mind, we of course need the tools in order to measure that. So, if I want to figure out how much precipitation has taken place in a certain amount of time, which tool would I use?
I just go to
Ooh.
weather.com. It has got
Oh, Miss McMahon.
The best.
That's a cheater way.
Where
could
did
do that.
Where did they get that information from? Then?
Well, the Weather Channel probably has gold encrusted rain gauges.
Oh, that's right. Rain gauges. That's how you
that neat
measure
little tube.
the precipitation.
Right, and we
Right.
know gauge is a verb that you can use to measure, or you kind of estimate, so it makes sense that rain gauge measures how much rain has fallen.
Right.
Very good.
And then, of course, the probably the easiest one for you is the temperature. What measures the temperature?
We use a thermometer
Right.
to measure the
right.
temperature.
And we
see how
usually
hot
see
or
our
cold it is.
temperature in what?
Degrees Fahrenheit.
Very good. Okay. Now, what about our wind speed? How do we
Ooh.
measure the wind speed?
We actually got to see one of those.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of wind, so we didn't get to see it in action.
Right.
But it was that cool tool that has the cups on the end, and we call that an anemometer.
It's that
Very
tough
good.
word, anemometer.
Yes, anemometer. And finally, of course, we want to find out the wind direction. That is, which direction the wind is coming from. And so, what do we look at for that?
We look at a wind vane. I'm thinking about a lot of times it's on top of a barn,
Yes.
and it has NSEW, thinking about my directions, and we know the arrow kind of points to what direction the wind is blowing.
Very good. Sometimes those are called weather vanes too. Just
Yes,
a little
Also weather
FYI.
vanes. Good.
Okay, and then we've been talking a lot about interpreting weather. And so you will see that there's a map sitting in front of you. And
Very good.
that this is something that we worked on a lot. We've made maps in classroom. We've talked about, looked at different ones and talked about what kind of conditions there are. So let's look at this map. And
That you have on the screen right in front of you.
Right. So some of the key things you need to be aware of on a map is, first of all, pay attention to your key. And in your key, you're going to see some different types of fronts. And so in this one in particular, we have a warm front here, which we know brings what kind of weather?
warm.
Warm weather, warmer temperatures, and sometimes some rain.
Yes.
A lot of times fronts can bring a change in weather, so a lot of times it'll bring some precipitation. And then cold fronts over here. Well, first of all, with the warm fronts, notice it's got the half circles
circles.
around it.
We thought
Cold-
about the red, like half a sun, thinking about the
Red
sun
half a
being
sun,
yeah,
thinking
that's a good
warm.
way.
Good idea. And then cold fronts are in blue, and they have, to me, it kind of look like flags in the swim.
Or
Right,
recent
or
icicles.
Or icicles.
Or mountaintops.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
like it. Like those connections. And cold fronts usually bring what type of weather?
Colder.
temperatures.
Colder temperatures, and a lot of times thunderstorms
Right.
can come with a cold front. And then our last front is stationary fronts, which is a mixture of the warm and the cold front symbols. And stationary fronts are weather systems that
Help you. It causes rain or snow that kind of lingers for a few days.
That's
Yeah,
right. And
yeah.
we talked about in my class stationary, thinking of a stationary bicycle, how you can get on, you can pedal, pedal,
Yes.
pedal, but you don't go anywhere.
Right.
And
Right.
so stationary fronts, that's what happens with the weather they bring. Usually it sticks around for a few days.
Exactly.
All right, so just being able to look at a map and understand what the weather's going on based on those fronts, and also we can see here with this map, they've got the different temperatures of each of these cities.
Right.
So if I were to ask you guys, just taking a look at this map, which city is experiencing snow showers that are probably going to last a few days,
Ooh.
what would you guys think would be the correct city for that one?
I would say Bozeman for a couple different reasons. I can have a couple of different pieces of evidence to support my answer. First of all, I noticed that there's a stationary front, and when you said lingering for a couple of days, and I see a snowflake, so from my key I know that means snow, and I know the temperature is 32 degrees, which is the temperature in which water freezes. So, all that being said, I see that there's snow, but with the stationary front, that shows me that the snow is going to linger for multiple days.
Very good. And one more question, and we'll move on. All right, what do you guys think about Miami? Why do you think it's sunshine and warmer weather going on down there? What do you think caused that?
Well, it looks like a warm front came through and probably caused that temperature to rise. And we know that our weather typically runs from west to east. So it looks like that warm front right there has moved.
Already passed through. Very
to
good.
the east.
And a lot of times too, with these front symbols, whichever way they're facing, that's which way they're moving.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Right.
it's showing that it's already passed through Miami. So now it's nice and sunny, and the temperatures probably have risen from what they were a couple days ago.
Right.
Probably even some rain a couple days ago.
Right, and Ms. Mitchell says something else for us to remember, that the weather always moves usually from the west to the east.
And again, another important thing to remember:
Yes, Right.
how
yes.
where that or the direction the weather moves.
Right.
But just make sure that you can look at a map and answer questions.
You can even quiz yourself with some of the other questions that we had in that tape-in for the interpreting weather maps. The same map, you can quiz yourself with some of the other ones.
Very good. All right. Last up, we've got severe weather. So we talked about several different types of severe weather. So I'm going to give you guys a description,
Okay?
Okay.
and y'all tell me which type of severe weather it would be.
Okay.
All right. So this type of severe weather usually forms from thunderstorms, and it creates a funnel-shaped
Oh.
clouds
Ding,
with
ding, ding,
really,
ding, ding.
really,
That
really,
funnel
really,
should
really,
help.
really, really fast wind.
Oh, that's definitely a tornado. You
Yes.
said the key word right there is funnel-shaped.
Very good. Okay, next one. This is a severe storm that usually produces lightning, thunder, heavy rain, and strong winds.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a thunderstorm, and we want to make sure that you don't get near any trees and stay inside and out of the water. We see a lot of that maybe in the summertime.
Absolutely.
Typically at swim meets.
That's right. That's happening every Thursday,
Yes,
right?
every
Baseball
Thursday.
games too.
Yes.
All right, last type of storm is a large storm that usually forms over ocean water, and it usually happens during the summer and a little bit into the fall when it's warmer out and the ocean water is warmer, and it creates very strong winds, and it even has an eye in the center of the
Oh
storm.
yes, that's definitely the hurricane.
Definitely hurricane.
And we got to listen to that with the walking classroom.
Absolutely.
So,
Learn
think
some
about all of those things
Good
that
information
they talked
there.
about.
All right, so quick safety tips with a tornado.
Mm-hmm.
Just obviously want to find shelter and stay away from windows, and head into a basement or a closet is probably a good idea.
But if you're
Low.
outside, lay low.
Lay low.
Go to a ditch.
Inside a
Lower the
ditch.
better.
That's right. And then hurricanes, usually only the cities on the coast have to worry about that, so just moving inland and boarding up their windows and things like that. All right, some other things for you guys to make sure you feel good about to prepare for this test is understanding seasons and the type of weather they bring. It should be pretty common sense because we know in the summer it's usually warmer
Warmer weather.
temperature,
Right.
where winter it's colder, and then fall and spring are a little bit in between. So
Right.
just paying attention to that because you will have some charts that you have to read on your test. And
Predicting,
predicting, that's
knowing
right.
that if it's in the winter time and you see 45 and then 52, you're not going to choose a temperature that's in the 80s. If you
Right.
know,
Make it make sense.
so just make sure that you understand that the charts that we've worked on.
Exactly.
awesome.
Okay.
Do you hear that?
It's raining.
Well,
It
as
is raining.
we're recording this, by golly, there's some precipitation falling outside.
It's
That's
happening.
pretty perfect timing. So we're gonna go stick our rain gauge out there and see what we can, see how much rain we're gonna get. All right,
good.
good.
y'all study hard.
Study hard. Good luck.
Bye.